Hello again. So, the farmers are going to give Hogarth's idea a trial, and if it fails, they're going to call in the army. After spending a night and a day eating all the barbed wire for miles around, as well as hinges he tore off gates, and the tin cans he found in ditches, and 3 new tractors, and 2 cars, and a lorry, the Iron Man was resting in a clump of elm trees. There he stood, leaning among the huge branches, almost hidden by the dense leaves, his eyes glowing a soft blue. The farmers came near, along a lane in cars, so that they could make a quick getaway if things went wrong. They stopped 50 yards from the clump of elm trees. He really was a monster. This was the first time most of them had had a good look at him. His chest was as big as a cattle truck. His arms were like cranes, and he was getting rusty, probably from eating all the old barbed wire. Now Hogarth walked up towards the Iron Man. "Hello!" he shouted and stopped. "Hello, Mr. Iron Man!" The Iron Man made no move. His eyes did not change. Then Hogarth picked up a rusty old horseshoe and knocked it against a stone. Clonk, clonk, clonk. At once the Iron Man's eyes turned darker blue, then purple, then red, and finally white, like a car headlamps. It was the only sign he gave of having heard. "Mr. Iron Man," shouted Hogarth, "we've got all the iron you want, all the food you want, and you can have it for nothing if you'll only stop eating up the farms." The Iron Man stood up straight. Slowly he turned, till he was looking directly at Hogarth. "We're sorry we trapped you and buried you," shouted the little boy. "We promise we'll not deceive you again. Follow us, and you can have all the metal you want, brass too, aluminium too, and lots of old chrome. Follow us." The Iron Man pushed aside the boughs and came into the lane. Hogarth joined the farmers. Slowly they drove back down the lane, and slowly, with all his cogs humming, the Iron Man stepped after them. They led through the villages. Half the people came out to stare. Half ran to shut themselves inside bedrooms and kitchens. Nobody could believe their eyes when they saw the Iron Man marching behind the farmers. At last they came to the town, and there was a great metal scrapyard. Everything was there. Old cars by the 100. Old trucks, old railway engines, old stoves, old refrigerators, old springs, bedsteads, bicycles, girders, gates, pans. All the scrap iron of the region was piled up there, rusting away. "There!" cried Hogarth. "Eat all you can!" The Iron Man gazed, and his eyes turned red. He kneeled down in the yard. He stretched out on one elbow. He picked up a greasy black stove and chewed it like a toffee. There were delicious crumbs of chrome on it. He followed that with a double-decker bedstead, and the brass knobs made his eyes crackle with joy. Never before had the Iron Man eaten such delicacies. As he lay there, a big truck turned into the yard and unloaded a pile of rusty chain. The Iron Man lifted a handful and let it dangle into his mouth, better than any spaghetti. So there they left him. It was an Iron Man's heaven. The farmers went back to their farms. Hogarth visited the Iron Man every few days. Now the Iron Man's eyes were constantly a happy blue. He was no longer rusty. His body gleamed like a new gun barrel, and he ate and ate endlessly. Wow. And there he is. Look, there's the Iron Man in the scrapyard. Look, he's eating the chain like some spaghetti. And I think he's going to get through that pile of cars as well, and the bedstead. Wow. He looks like a very happy Iron Man at the moment, but we've got 2 more chapters to go. So I don't know what's going to happen next. Can you try and imagine? And I'll read the next bit tomorrow, okay? Night-night, everybody. Love you lots. Michael loves you too. Bye-bye, darlings.